Every man has lived through that moment when she says something that doesn't just sting. It hits a part of you she had no right touching. You stand there, stunned, wondering how a simple disagreement turned into an attack on your worth. Most men dismiss it. They tell themselves she was stressed, tired, emotional. But that's how you get trapped. Because there are 6 specific sentences women use that are not emotional slips. They're psychological tells. And once you know what they mean, you'll see your entire relationship differently. If you've ever felt like you're giving more than you're getting, or like you're being tested without knowing the rules, this is where it finally makes sense. Keep watching. These 6 phrases are the blueprint to understanding whether she respects you, or is slowly hollowing you out. There is a part of female communication most men will never see, because women rarely expose what's happening underneath the surface. But there's a secret pattern hidden inside certain sentences, a pattern that predicts whether she respects you or whether she's already stopped seeing you as an equal. These 6 phrases aren't popular to talk about because they reveal the side of female psychology no one wants to admit exists. Today, you'll hear the truth without filters. If you want more truths men deserve to know, like this video and subscribe. Then comment a promise to yourself. I will not ignore red flags anymore. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn will make certain past moments suddenly make perfect sense. Let's go deeper. Go. Number 1. A real man would... There's a particular quiet that happens in a room when a woman drops this line. It's not the silence of confusion. It's the silence of a man being measured and found lacking. You're standing there, trying to understand why a simple disagreement suddenly became a referendum on your masculinity, and she knows exactly what she just did. That line isn't an expression of need. It's a tactic, a way to reach past logic and stab directly into the softest part of you, your identity as a man. When a woman says, a real man would pay all the bills, or a real man wouldn't complain, or a real man would hand me his phone, she isn't describing her standards. She's describing the level of control she thinks she should have over you. This phrase isn't about character or virtue, it's about compliance. It's meant to trigger that instinct in you that whispers, prove her wrong, show her you're enough. And once it hooks you, she can move the goalpost anywhere she wants. Today, a real man buys what she wants. Tomorrow, a real man stops questioning her choices. Next week, a real man abandons his boundaries to keep her happy. It never ends, because the definition was never real to begin with. It shifts based on whatever benefits her in the moment. A woman using this line is running a test. She's not asking, are you masculine? She's asking, how easily can I manipulate your sense of masculinity? If you fall for it, she learns exactly how to bend you. And if you react defensively, if you try to argue your worth, she wins twice. She gets the control, and she gets confirmation that the phrase works on you. A woman who respects you doesn't need to weaponize your gender to communicate a need. She'll say, I'd appreciate more support, or this behavior doesn't work for me, without cutting into your worth as a man. But a woman who says, a real man would, isn't making a request. She's sending a warning about the way she sees power in a relationship. The strongest response isn't defensiveness, it's clarity. Look her in the eye and ask calmly, what do you mean by real man in this situation? Watch how she reacts when she's forced to define it. Most can't, because the power of the phrase comes from its vagueness. The moment she has to explain it, the illusion cracks. A woman who needs to push you down to lift herself up isn't looking for a partner. She's looking for leverage. And if that's the framework she operates from, believe me, she won't stop at one sentence. Number 2, I'm PMSing. You hear this one right after the explosion. Raised voice, Sharp insults, a slammed door, maybe even something thrown across the room. And then comes the justification, wrapped in 3 letters that are supposed to make you swallow the disrespect and stay quiet. I'm PMSing, as if that single phrase resets the entire conversation and wipes out everything she just said or did. Let me be blunt with you. PMS is real. The discomfort is real. The irritability, the sensitivity, the physical pain, those are not imaginary. But when a woman consistently uses PMS as a shield for her cruelty, she isn't asking for empathy. She's asking for immunity. She's telling you, accept anything I do because I can blame it on biology. There's a difference, a massive one, between needing understanding and demanding a free pass. A woman in genuine discomfort might say, I'm not feeling great today. Can we talk later? Or, I'm feeling on edge. I'll try to watch my tone. That is emotional maturity. It acknowledges the feeling, not excuses the behavior. But the woman who screams, curses, belittles, breaks boundaries, and then shrugs it off with, sorry, I'm PMSing, isn't dealing with hormones. She's avoiding accountability. And here's the dangerous part. Once she learns that you accept it, she'll use it as often as she pleases. She starts relying on your silence. Your tolerance becomes her safety net. And over time, she conditions you to believe that your role is to absorb her emotional dumping. You begin to think, maybe I should be more patient, or maybe this is just how women are. That's how learned helplessness forms. Slowly, quietly, one excuse at a time. But biology cannot be an alibi for cruelty. Hormones might make emotions bigger, but they don't force someone to lose respect for you. That choice is always voluntary. And when a woman chooses to hurt you and later hides behind PMS, she's not just evading responsibility. She's training you to devalue your own emotional boundaries. You don't need to fight her. You don't need to diagnose her mood. You just need to separate feeling from behavior. You can say, calmly, I understand you're not feeling well, but disrespect is not something I'm okay with, no matter the reason. And then you watch. Pay attention to whether she adjusts after the moment passes, or whether she keeps using the same line every time things get heated. A woman who respects you will correct herself. A woman who doesn't will expect you to endure the next storm, and the next, and the next. Pain may explain emotions. It does not excuse cruelty. Number 3. I didn't ask you to. This one cuts deeper than most men admit. It doesn't yell. It doesn't insult. It erases, and erasure is sometimes more painful than any argument. You spend your Saturday fixing her car so she can drive safely on Monday. You pick up her errands without being asked because you want her day to feel lighter. You bring her flowers after a week that drained the life out of her. You step in with the kids so she can breathe. And then she hits you with it, flat, dismissive, cold. I didn't ask you to. That sentence is not neutral. It carries an entire message beneath it. Your effort doesn't matter unless it directly benefits me on my terms. It tells you that your thoughtfulness was irrelevant, that your initiative was unnecessary, that your desire to care is something she neither asked for nor values. And for men who often express love through action, through fixing, through problem solving, this lands as rejection in its purest form. From a woman's perspective, the ones who use this phrase usually fall into a few patterns. Some are terrified of feeling indebted. Gratitude makes them uncomfortable because it requires vulnerability. Others have grown so accustomed to being cared for that they treat effort like background noise, something they believe should happen automatically. And then there are those who see love as a transaction. If they didn't request the service, it has no worth. In their mind, appreciation becomes optional, but receiving becomes mandatory. But what this phrase does psychologically is worse than simple dismissal. It trains you to stop trying. Every time you extend yourself and get nothing back, not even a softening of her tone, not even a quiet thank you, your instinct dulls. You begin pulling away from your own nature. You start thinking twice before doing something thoughtful. Eventually, you stop altogether. And when you do, she flips the script. Suddenly, you're emotionally distant, not romantic anymore, not putting in effort. The same actions she rejected are the ones she now weaponizes your absence of. A woman who values you will never make you feel foolish for caring. She won't punish your initiative or make your love feel inconvenient. She won't shrink your generosity just to avoid admitting it meant something to her. If you want to reclaim your sense of self in moments like this, you don't need to lecture her. You don't need to justify why you did what you did. You simply need to name the reality. When you say that, it makes my effort feel invisible. Then watch closely. Does she soften, understand, recalibrate? Or does she double down and act like your feelings are the problem? A dismissive woman will shoot at the very hands that hold her up. A grown woman doesn't. Number 4. Then why do I need you? There's a particular kind of arrogance embedded in this sentence. It doesn't come from frustration. It doesn't come from misunderstanding. It comes from entitlement. The belief that your worth is measured only by how convenient you are to her in the moment. You hear this line when you fail to deliver something she expected. Maybe you couldn't afford the trip she wanted. Maybe you didn't drop everything to accommodate her plans. Maybe you had a boundary she didn't like, and instead of discussing the issue, she goes straight for the jugular. Then why do I need you? That is not a question. It's a demotion. In that moment, she's no longer speaking to you as a partner. She's speaking to you as a utility, something to be evaluated, graded, and replaced if necessary. And the truth most men never say out loud is how dehumanizing it feels. Because beneath that sentence is a brutal implication. Your value exists only in the functions you perform. From a woman's perspective, this line often appears when she's operating from a transactional mindset. Women like this don't see relationships as an exchange of care. They see them as an exchange of benefits. They're doing a constant mental calculation. What am I getting? What am I missing? Is he delivering enough? And when the equation doesn't favor them in a single moment, they weaponize it. They don't say, I'm disappointed. They say, why are you even here? Psychologically, this activates something dangerous in men. It pushes you into a performance mindset where you start trying to justify your existence. You work harder. You give more. You shrink your needs. You bend your boundaries. You try to become indispensable so she'll never think that sentence again. But the tragedy is this. Once a woman sees you as replaceable, every effort you make only proves her right. You can't earn permanent worth from someone who only values temporary usefulness. A woman who genuinely loves you doesn't reduce you to a checklist. She doesn't treat adversity as an audit of your worth. She says, let's handle this together, not, what good are you right now? She looks at the whole man, not the momentary inconvenience. If you want to respond with strength, don't defend your value. Don't list everything you do. Don't argue for your place in her life. That only drags you deeper into the frame she created. Instead, stay calm and step out of it entirely. My value isn't measured by one situation. Then mirror it back. What makes you define my worth by what I provide right now? That question exposes the truth she was hoping to hide. If her feelings for you depend on what you can deliver at any given moment, she isn't building a relationship. She's managing a resource. And no matter how much you give, a woman who sees you as useful will never see you as irreplaceable. Number 5. I wasted my best years on you. This one doesn't shout. It doesn't explode. It lands like a slow, heavy weight dropped right onto your chest. Because it isn't just criticism. It's a full rewrite of history. A sentence designed to turn every good year into a regret, every sacrifice into a loss, and every moment you shared into something she now wishes she'd given to someone else. It usually appears at a very specific time, when her life doesn't look the way she imagined, and she needs someone to blame for the gap between fantasy and reality. Maybe she thought she'd be wealthier by now. Maybe she expected a proposal, a lifestyle upgrade, a different version of you. And instead of acknowledging her own choices, she unloads it all onto you with 5 words meant to crush you. I wasted my best years on you. But here's the truth that stings from a woman's perspective. This line is never about the past. It's about the future she's disappointed in. She's not actually reviewing the history of your relationship. She's rewriting it to match the frustration she feels right now. It's a psychological defense mechanism called narrative distortion. When someone is unhappy with their current reality, they go back and redraw the past to justify the dissatisfaction. The emotional danger for men is how deeply this embeds guilt. You start replaying the years in your head, wondering if you really held her back. You question whether you should have done more, been more, pushed harder. You begin carrying responsibility for a life that was always from the beginning a series of choices made by two adults, not one. And that's the part most men forget. She wasn't forced to stay. She stayed because she wanted to. Whatever those years were, easy, hard, beautiful, messy, they were shared decisions. Her calling them wasted doesn't change the truth. It only reveals the resentment she hasn't dealt with. A woman who loves you won't weaponize time. She won't turn your shared history into emotional ammunition. She won't take the very years you built together and throw them back at you as proof you never measured up. She'll talk about disappointment honestly, without rewriting the timeline to crown herself the victim. When she drops this line, do not fall into the trap of defending your past. Don't recite everything you did. Don't try to convince her those years meant something. That turns you into an attorney arguing the value of a life you both lived. Instead, return the responsibility to where it belongs. If being with me feels like a waste to you, then continuing would be a bigger waste for both of us. Calm, direct, unapologetic. Because when a woman is willing to call her own past trash just to punish you, she's telling you something important. She doesn't respect the road that got you here. And if she doesn't respect the past, she won't respect the future either. Number 6, if you don't like it, go find someone else. This sentence isn't spoken in fear of losing you. It's spoken in confidence that she won't. You can hear it in her tone, the casual arrogance, the dismissive shrug, the certainty that you're too invested, too attached, too afraid of the fallout to do anything but stay exactly where you are. And that's the real message hidden inside this phrase. I believe you won't leave me, no matter how I treat you. It usually surfaces when you bring up something that genuinely hurts you. Maybe you're pushing back on the constant spending. Maybe you're asking for more intimacy, more respect, more partnership. Maybe you're addressing patterns she's ignored for months. Instead of engaging with the issue, she fires off her favorite ultimatum. If you don't like it, go find someone else. She's not offering freedom. She's testing your captivity. From a woman's perspective, this line is strategic. It's a bluff, but a confident one. She's counting on your fears. The kids, the finances, the time invested, the fear of starting over, the instinct to avoid conflict. She's banking on the fact that you'll choose the discomfort you know over the uncertainty you don't. And when she sees you back down, the power imbalance widens. The relationship stops being a partnership and becomes a hierarchy, hers above yours. Psychologically, this phrase hits men in a tender place. It makes you feel disposable, replaceable, like your concerns don't matter and your presence is optional. It also traps you in a mental cage. If you stay, you feel weak. If you leave, you feel guilty. That's how learned helplessness forms, not through violence, not through chaos, through consistent dismissal. A woman who values you doesn't dare you to leave. She fears losing you. She respects your needs enough to stay in the conversation, even when the truth is uncomfortable. She doesn't use your commitment as leverage. She doesn't weaponize your loyalty. When you hear this line, you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to match her challenge. You don't need to prove anything. The most powerful response is calm, grounded clarity. I'm not looking for someone else. I'm looking for respect. And then you watch. Because the moment she realizes you won't collapse under that threat, her dynamic with you shifts. But here's the part you need to understand. If she continues repeating this line, she's not communicating. She's setting the terms of the relationship. She's telling you that her comfort matters more than your dignity. and that the cost of staying is accepting a life where your feelings are optional and your boundaries are negotiable. That sentence isn't a warning, it's an invitation, and a man who respects himself knows exactly when to accept it. There's a moment, usually when the house is quiet and the weight of everything finally settles, when a man realizes the truth he's been avoiding. These 6 sentences were never slip-ups. They weren't moments of stress or bad timing or emotional overload. They were windows. They revealed exactly how she saw him, long before he ever admitted it to himself. A real man would, "I'm PMSing. I didn't ask you to. Then why do I need you? I wasted my best years on you. If you don't like it, go find someone else." These aren't communication issues. They're patterns of contempt. They expose a mindset where your effort is expected, your feelings are inconvenient, your boundaries are negotiable, and your worth is determined by how much you can provide or endure. They're rooted in entitlement, in the belief that you won't leave, that you're too loyal or too tired or too afraid to choose yourself. A woman who loves you doesn't talk this way. She doesn't rewrite the past to punish you. She doesn't weaponize biology, time, or shame. She doesn't treat you like a utility or dare you to walk away. She doesn't test how much disrespect you'll tolerate. She protects the relationship by protecting your dignity because she understands that without that, nothing healthy can grow. You can't fix a relationship built on the belief that you're less than human. You can't negotiate respect with someone who's already decided you don't deserve it. And you cannot heal in a place that keeps telling you your pain is irrelevant. Leaving doesn't make you weak. Staying in a place that crushes you does. Walking away isn't giving up. It's refusing to participate in your own erosion. So, I want to hear from you. Which of these sentences have you heard? Which one hit the deepest? Your story could be the reason another man finally stops tolerating what's been destroying him. Leave it in the comments. And if you want a space where a woman tells you the truth about how women think, without sugarcoating, without manipulation, without playing nice, then subscribe. Share this with a man who needs to wake up. You never know whose life you might be pulling back from the edge. You don't need to be a perfect man to deserve respect. You just need to stop staying in places that treat you like you're convenient instead of human.